wired for progress, I know it's obvious.
When belief and will are in conflict, belief invariably wins. It is not what you want that you attract. You attract what you believe to be true.
Welcome to Independent Conclusion based on objectivity and subjectivity. So what topic better to talk about today? Subjectivity and objectivity as it pertains to knowing yourself, being an individual, and relationships. So we're just gonna jump right into it.
All right, guys, chapter 18, Imagination and Faith. This is also from The Art of Believing by Neville Goddard. This is chapter 18 out of the Neville Reader, but specifically it's The Art of Believing. This chapter, Imagination and Faith, they're very important and are the only faculties of mind needed to create an objective condition and the faith required for successful operation of the law of consciousness. I really wanted to go over this chapter with you guys. It's very important, and I love it. All right, imagination and faith. Prayers are not successfully made unless there is rapport between the conscious and the subconscious mind of the operator. This is done through imagination and faith. By the power of imagination, all men, certainly imaginative men, are forever casting forth enchantments, and all men, especially unimaginative men, are continually passing under their power. Can we ever be certain that it was not our mother, while darning our socks, who began the subtle change in our mind?
The subtle change in our mind. While raising us, you know what I'm saying? While donning our socks and diapers and everything else on, you know. Could it be that our mother was the first one to start, affect, our subconscious self? You get what I'm saying? Which we know that to be true because of the fact that we know that the mother's in charge of the emotions, primarily, and nurturing the mind and emotions. So, I would say child development. You get what I'm saying?
If I can't unintentionally cast an enchantment over persons, there is no reason to doubt that I am able to cast intentionally a far stronger enchantment. Everything that can be seen, touched, explained, argued over, is to the imaginative man nothing more than a means, for he functions by reason of his controlled imagination, in the deep of himself, where every idea exists in itself and not in relation to something else. In him there is no need for the restraints of reason, for the only restraint he can obey is the mysterious instinct that teaches him to eliminate all moods other than the mood of fulfilled desire. Imagination and faith are the only faculties of mind needed to create objective conditions. The faith required for the successful operation of the law of consciousness is a purely subjective faith and is attainable upon the cessation of active opposition on the part of the objective mind of the operator. It depends upon your ability to feel and accept as true what your objective senses deny. Neither the passivity of the subject nor his conscious agreement with your suggestion is necessary, for without his consent or knowledge he can be given a subjective order which he must objectively express. It is a fundamental law of consciousness that by telepathy we can have immediate communion with another. To establish rapport, you call the subject, this is a really good example here, guys, he goes into a really good metaphor and example. To establish rapport, you call the subject mentally. Focus your attention on him and mentally shout his name, just as you would to attract the attention of anyone. Imagine that he has answered and do all this in your imagination, guys. Imagine that he has answered and mentally hear his voice. Represent him to yourself inwardly in the state you want him to obtain. And you're doing all this yelling that he's saying very excitedly in your imagination, not aloud. Then imagine that he is telling you in the tones of ordinary conversation what you want to hear. Mentally answer him. Tell him of your joy in witnessing his good fortune. Having mentally heard with all the distinctness of reality that which you wanted to hear, and having thrilled to the news heard, return to objective consciousness. Your subjective conversation must awaken what it affirms. Thou shalt decree a thing, and it shall be established unto thee. It is not a strong will that sends the subjective word on its mission, so much as it is clear thinking and feeling the truth of the state affirmed. When belief and will are in conflict, belief invariably wins.
When belief and will are in conflict, belief undoubtedly wins. What do you think about that?
It's deep, and I never thought of that. I never thought of that like conflict, but I definitely agree because I can see how someone who is so like when you look at religion, Muslims and Christians, and you might have all the willpower in the world to try to go up against them and change their mind, but it's just not, you're not gonna win.
Right.
Because belief, it makes sense. Belief is stronger than will.
Because what you believe, you know, that's what you're telling them.
That's your belief. It's stronger than ambition.
Stronger than logic.
It is.
But
because logic can be changed.
But
your belief can be changed too. But
there's a point to there's a need for logic too. So it makes you think like, damn, okay. You know?
Exactly.
There's a purpose for it. So even though you're hearing it, you're like, okay.
Not by might, nor by power, but by Spirit, saith the Lord of hosts. It is not what you want that you attract. You attract what you believe to be true. Therefore,
it's not what you want that you attract.
You attract what you believe to be
But
true.
you attract what you believe. So you can want all you want. Wanting and wanting and wanting. Not what you want.
This I never thought of that.
get into the spirit of these mental conversations and give them the same degree of reality that you would a telephone conversation. If thou canst believe, all things are possible to him that believeth. Therefore I say unto you, what things soever ye desire when ye pray, I believe that ye have received them, and ye shall have them.
Bonding. So we already know that in the Bible, right, there's certain truths. I'll go ahead and say it right now. Nobody can say it. I'm against the Bible. I might be against the way it might be taught, but there's truths in the Bible. As long as you don't look at it like literally, you know, parables and symbols. Parables and symbols.
The acceptance of the end wills the means, and the wisest reflection could not devise more effective means than those by which are willed by the acceptance of the end. Mentally talk to your friends as though your desires for them were already realized. Imagination is the beginning of the growth of all forms, and faith is the substance out of which they are formed. By imagination, that which exists in latency, or is asleep within the deep of consciousness, is awakened and is given a form. The cures attributed to the influence of certain medicines, relics, and places are the effects of imagination and faith. The curative power is not in the spirit that is in them.
So he said the curative power is in the belief, even with medicine and stuff like that, right? So you know the placebo effect. You get what I'm saying?
Wow.
The placebo effect.
It will work on some sugar pill.
Yeah.
And like, I believe I'm better.
Just because they believed it was aspirin or some shit, but they could have gave us a sugar pill, like you said.
Exactly, yeah.
They probably got an experiment like that. That's why you said it, didn't they?
Yeah,
they did that shit.
Yeah, they did. Well, they either give you a sugar pill, it might give you like a water pill or something like that. But they'll tell you, yeah, just take 2 of these, and at this time, you should be fine. Get some rest, drink plenty of water. And sometimes it really might be the water. So you really just need to drink water. You might be dehydrated.
Science writer Eric Vance has traveled the globe to learn how healing works, whether it's Western medicine or traditional healing. 6,500 feet up in the mountains of Mexico's Sierra Maztecas, we explored 2 things that sometimes unite those types of treatment: the theater of medicine and the science of placebos.
My favorite one is, I don't know if you've ever taken a pill and had immediately felt better. Like as soon as you take a pill, your headache just goes away. Well, that pill actually takes 20 minutes to kick in. So what you're feeling is actually the placebo effect.
Placebos do this by unlocking the body's medicine cabinet, releasing compounds like appetite hormones or pain-relieving opioids. But in his book Suggestible You, Vance explains how a placebo effect can be triggered by more than a sugar pill. here in Huautla de Jimenez, many experience the placebo effect before they even arrive, through collective expectations made by the city's reputation.
A lot of placebo involves storytelling. Pull someone out of their everyday, shock them a little bit, and try to create a story that forces your brain to start treating itself.
The shock from these fire ants relieved Eric's forearm tendinitis. The ant bites are an active placebo, a sensation that convinces the body to open up its medicine cabinet.
We call this social learning in placebo effects. So, for example, if a patient observes another patient getting a benefit from a therapeutic treatment, this can create strong expectations.
Neuroscientist Luana Coloca, whose lab is funded by the National Institutes of Health and others, studies how placebo effects can influence pain disorders. While physical injury causes pain, the brain can amplify or even create these pain signals merely through the expectations of feeling bad or through stress.
How much do you expect that this procedure is going to reduce your level of pain?
Maybe by half?
By half. Okay.
Yeah, it's not bad at all.
Of course, the probe is a prop. I received the same hurtful heat every time. Yet the pad felt cool when the light was green. Weirdly, my pain perception dropped by exactly 50%, suggesting an expectation for healing can be controlled.
The doctor can also create a placebo effect and add that placebo effect to the power of the medicine. So it's in the way that they talk to you, it's in the clothing that they wear, it's in the environment that they choose to be in.
Luana's lab is using these placebo responses to build drugs and psychotherapies. They found a nasal spray of the hormone vasopressin can mimic the social placebo effect and provide pain relief. While placebos can't remedy something like cancer, to some degree they have been shown to ease the symptoms of conditions like depression, addiction, and autism. With Parkinson's disease, placebos can improve motor ability, and those effects can last for years. So whether you're with a doctor in Baltimore or curandero in the Mexican mountains, these healing placebos are never too far away.
By imagination, that which exists in latency, or is asleep within the deep of consciousness, is awakened and is given a form. The cures attributed to the influence of certain medicines, relics, and places are the effects of imagination and faith. The curative power is not in the spirit that is in them, it is in the spirit in which they are accepted. The letter killeth, but the spirit giveth life. The subjective mind is completely controlled by suggestion, so whether the object of your faith be true or false, you will get the same results. There is nothing unsound in the theory of medicine.
So whether it's something good or bad, true or false, righteous or unrighteous, practical or unpractical, whatever you give your subconscious self
For their relics and holy places. The subjective mind of the patient accepts the suggestion of health conditioned on such states, and as soon as these conditions are met, proceeds to realize health. According to your faith, be it done unto you, for all things are possible to him that believeth. Confident expectation of a state is the most potent means of bringing it about. The confident expectation of a cure does that which no medical treatment can accomplish. Failure is always due to an antagonistic autosuggestion by the patient, arising from objective doubt of the power of medicine or relic, or from doubt of the truth of the theory. Many of us, either from too little emotion or too much intellect, both of which are stumbling blocks in the way of prayer.
But most of us, from too little emotion or too little intellect, too much intellect or too much emotion. So it's showing you right there, it's all about balance.
Or from doubt of the truth of the theory. Many of us, either from too little emotion or too much intellect, both of which are stumbling blocks in the way of prayer, cannot believe that which our senses deny. To force ourselves to believe will end in greater doubt. To avoid such counter suggestions, the patient should be aware objectively of the suggestions which are made to him. The most effective method of healing or influencing the behavior of others consists in what is known as the silent or absent treatment. When the subject is unaware, objectively, of a suggestion given him, there is no possibility of him setting up an antagonistic belief. It is not
Antagonistic belief against what you're believing to happen, right?
Mm-hmm.
the patient know objectively that anything is being done for him. And this works in the reverse also. That's why Neville also says not to tell anyone when you're working on something, when you're working on your wish fulfilled. Don't tell anybody until it's actually fulfilled. And this kind of goes in the reverse here. You don't need to tell anyone that if you're working on somebody for a medical condition or you're trying to help somebody in some way, you do not need to tell them that it's happening. It's actually better off that you don't. Objectively of the suggestion given him, there is no possibility of him setting up an antagonistic belief. And that's what he means by that. It is not necessary that the patient know objectively that anything is being done for him. For what is known of the subjective and objective processes of reasoning, it is better that he should not know objectively of that which is being done for him. See, there it is. It works in both ways there, guys. The same with this theory. The better will the subjective mind performs its functions. The more completely the objective mind is kept in ignorance of the suggestion, the better will the subjective mind perform its functions. The subject subconsciously accepts the suggestion and thinks he originates it, proving the truth of Spinoza's dictum that we know not the causes that determine our actions. The subconscious mind is a universal conductor which the operator modifies with his thoughts and feelings. Visible states are either the vibratory effects of subconscious vibration within you, or they are the vibratory causes of corresponding vibrations within you. A disciplined man never permits them to be causes unless they awaken in him desirable states of consciousness. With a knowledge of the law of reversibility, the disciplined man transforms his world by imagining and feeling only what is lovely and of good report, because the law of the law of reversibility actually goes along with this, because if you imagine yourself as having everything that you want, the law of reversibility will give you the reverse effect of that. So it'll give you if you imagine yourself having a Ferrari, and that Ferrari would make you feel a certain way, but now you imagine yourself having the Ferrari and you're feeling that way, so automatically the subconscious realm will bring that wish fulfilled to you based on the feeling that you have of the law of reversibility. The beautiful idea he awakens within himself shall not fail to arouse its infinity in others. He knows the Savior of the world is not a man, but the manifestation that would save. The sick man's Savior is health. The hungry man's Savior is food. The thirsty man's Savior is water. He walks in the company of the Savior by assuming the feeling of his wish fulfilled. By the laws of reversibility, all transformations of force are reversible. The energy or feeling awakened transforms itself into the state imagined. He never waits 4 months for the harvest, if in 4 months the harvest will awaken in him a state of joy. Then inversely, that's what I meant, inversely, the joy of harvest now will awaken the harvest now. Now is the acceptable time to give beauty for ashes, joy for mourning, praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they might be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, that he might be glorified. All right, guys, this is imagination and faith.
Thoughts?
Yo, that is so deep. That is so deep. Like, think about that. It's like, it's true. Like, we always thought belief is just like your religion, but you really believe everything that you're doing. You believe in yourself. You're believing in greatness. You believe in riches. You believe in that's what you believe in.
Right.
It's so crazy. Never thought of it that way.
That's why you can understand how they say, so and this week, so it is how the world really operates, kind of magical, right? The world is like, operates like the woman, right? The universe. So it's like you can impregnate the world with an idea, with the masculine part. The idea, the man was the idea is the masculine, but the idea plus emotion, that's how you manifest it. You get what I'm saying? So you give this impression, right? There's some impressions or enchantments. You give this impression to your subconscious, then whether it's good or bad, it's gonna make yourself manifest. If you say, yeah, I'm always broke, even if you said once. You get what I'm saying? Matter. Now, be a person that said more than once here and there. You get what I'm saying? Like,
So instead of even saying that you want to get rich, you say, I am rich.
right.
What breaks but never falls. What's better broken off? What breaks but never. It don't outweigh the bad. Better broken off. I believe in you, hope you believe in me. You say I doubt you sometimes, I know you doubt me. I believe in you, hope you believe in me. You say I doubt you sometimes, I know you doubt me. I say I believe in you, hope you believe in me. You say I doubt you sometimes, I know you doubt me. I believe in you, hope you believe in me.